Hi, I'm Rich Booker, and welcome to this special edition of The Rich Booker Show, real local news and political talk on MLTV Mainline Network. First, a message to the people of Radnor, the Main Line, and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. As a commissioner of Radnor Township, I want to thank all of the people of Radnor and in the rest of the Commonwealth for their efforts to stop the spread of the novel coronavirus. Your sacrifices have been real and difficult, and your cooperation is greatly appreciated. As a conservative and a staunch supporter of the president, I implore Governor Wolf to work with President Trump to reopen the country for business. While recognizing the real danger associated with the novel coronavirus from China, the efforts we are undertaking to control its spread are likely not commensurate with the threat. The action being taken by Governor Wolf and many other state governors is to demand an economic shutdown and confine people to their homes under police and National Guard enforcement. This is un-American. Americans will always answer to the call of action to defeat tyranny and to defeat those who are being oppressed. But in this case, we're not being called to action. It's just the opposite. Americans are not being called to fight. We are being forced to cower in our homes afraid of a flu bug. That is antithetical to our American tradition of taking action. We all sit at home with all businesses shut down, with the federal government voting to drop money from helicopters, basically to try to underwrite the entire U.S. economy. How can we ever get back to normal if this goes on even a few days longer? This is a profound change to how we live in America. We should remember that the Declaration of Independent states all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. No matter how you justify it, the government has taken over our lives and taken away our God-given right to liberty and the pursuit of happiness. We must stop to consider the precedent that we set now by allowing the government to jail us all in our own homes indefinitely. Don't you think that a future leftist government, example under a Biden administration, will do this again for whatever reason they deem in the public interest? Don't you think that we have now paved the way for some future government to shut down all or a portion of our economic activity? For example, the fossil fuels industry, because they believe it's in the best interest of the public health? I am here today at our Radnor studio to speak with you on these very important issues. Most of the other Radnor commissioners will not even come out of their homes. But I'm broadcasting now to help everyone to recognize that we're blowing the threat of this flu virus out of proportion. Take a look at this slide. As of March 26th, we have only 10 cases of COVID-19 in Radnor out of 30,000 people. That equates to only 0.03% of our residents in Radnor. Using those figures, that means that in Radnor you have about the same chance of contracting COVID-19 as you do of getting struck by lightning. In the United States, as of yesterday, we have about 70,000 cases of COVID-19, which is about 0.02% of the total American population, 1/3 smaller than in Radnor. I want to remind you all that while everyone is in a panic about the coronavirus, the flu is even deadlier, yet we would not think of stopping our American economic engine to slow the spread of the flu. The American Center for Disease Control, the CDC, has estimated that at least 12,000 people have died from influenza between October 1, 2019 through February 1, 2020. And the number of deaths may be as high as 30,000. Comparatively, COVID-19 has recorded just over 1,000 deaths nationwide in total through March 26th. The CDC also estimates that up to 31 million Americans have caught the flu this season, with 210,000 to 370,000 flu sufferers hospitalized because of that flu virus. By comparison, to date, we have only about 11,000 hospitalizations due to the coronavirus. For the coronavirus, we expect more hospitalizations. We expect critical care shortages in certain hotspots, and we expect higher mortality. But in the end, I believe that we will find out that this scare is really little more than a severe flu bug. The early action taken by the President to stop flights from China and the federal 15-day recommendations to work from home where possible, avoid large gatherings, and to practice good hygiene are working to slow the spread of the coronavirus. The state government actions to shut down all businesses pose an even greater threat to our well-being than the virus ever could. Yesterday, the initial jobless claims came out for the nation for the week ending March 21, 2020. The figure showed a new record 3 times any previous figure of 3.3 million jobless claims. The massive state government shutdowns have halted the American economic engine and forced millions into unemployment. This, in turn, has prompted the federal government to enact a $2.2 trillion federal bailout emergency relief bill. That is in addition to the new quantitative easing by the Federal Reserve, totaling about $4 trillion in liquidity for America's financial markets. This is absolutely an unprecedented $6 trillion response brought on by the international panic with respect to this coronavirus. Those figures don't even consider all of the costs to the government to provide medical treatment to those people who contract the coronavirus, nor does it count the cost of the destruction of over $8 trillion in U.S. stock market capitalization that we've already experienced. The cost has been astronomical and driven by fear of worst-case projections over 18 months. We must keep calm. We must consider carefully our actions, and we must act in a way commensurate with the threat that we face. More than the coronavirus, my concern is the deaths and other detrimental effects that will occur if unemployment rises to 20%, as some pundits predict. An American 20% unemployment condition would mean 30 million people out of work. Many, many more deaths will occur in that condition from suicide, drug addiction, substandard housing, and poor hygiene, all of which occurred during the Great Depression. We all know life is precious, but by comparison, we allow abortion on demand. Shouldn't we at least discuss how much we will spend to stop a flu bug from causing even a single casualty? It's been said we're in a war, and if we are in a war, war always has casualties. This war is being fought with the goal of stopping even a single person from being harmed. America is the 2-time undefeated World War champion, and we know how to fight a war. But this is not what we're used to. The Western and Northeastern states' governors are coordinating to impose martial law and include massive restrictions to every individual in these states. They justify this deprivation of liberty by reciting the need to adhere to some type of social contract, per Andrew Cuomo of New York. Funnily enough, I don't recall any mention of this social contract in the Constitution of the United States. The imposition of martial law is wrong, and it's unconstitutional under these circumstances. It appears that the younger millennials and Gen Zs in our population understand this. They are openly defying the orders. The imposition of martial law is always wrong, no matter the reason, no matter the state governor, no matter who the president is. Moreover, Americans don't want the government to hand out money. They want to have their freedom to pursue their businesses and to continue to seek out their piece of the American dream. Patrick Henry famously said, "Give me liberty or give me death." We should heed those words now. The response by Federal and state governments in this case of COVID-19 is panicked and fundamentally endangers our liberty permanently. Most people recognize that we cannot shut down America. We cannot have a solution to the novel coronavirus that causes more harm than the virus itself. Dan Patrick, Texas Republican Lieutenant Governor, recently suggested on Tucker Carlson that he and other grandparents would be willing to risk their health and even their lives in order for the United States to, quote, get back to work, unquote, amid the coronavirus pandemic. He said that those of us who are 70 plus will take care of ourselves, but don't sacrifice the country. Patrick, who said he will turn 70 shortly, said that he did not fear COVID-19, but feared that stay-at-home orders and economic upheaval would destroy the American way of life. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick expressed a sentiment that is felt by many of us. He said that, quote, "No one reached out to me and said, as a senior citizen, are you willing to take a chance on your survival in exchange for keeping the America that America loves for its children and grandchildren? And if that is the exchange, I'm all in," close quote. It's clear that we must stop panicking. We must not cause a worldwide depression for a flu bug. We must not acquiesce to this deprivation of rights, whatever the justification. We must keep our heads when those about us lose theirs. This flu bug is not an existential threat, and we must not treat it like it is, even if others do. We must allow the American economic engine to spring back to motion. If we have to, let's give everyone in the country a mask to use to go to work. If we have to, let's identify those who have already had the virus and who are immune and send them back into the workplace. And we must concurrently keep the seniors or those with medical predispositions at home and safe. We must do whatever we need to, but above all, we must get everyone back to work immediately and restart the American economic engine. To do otherwise will mean permanent, significant economic damage to the U.S. economy. Moreover, it threatens to permanently disrupt the foundational principles of natural law which underpin our republic. I ask Governor Wolf to please stop the panic, work with the Republican majority to end martial law, and to bring back economic activity before it's too late. Before I close, I wanted to update our community on our special meeting of the Board of Commissioners on the 23rd of March, 2020. At that meeting, we extended the due date for business privilege and mercantile tax from May 15 to July 15, 2020 for businesses in Radnor. Payments for estimated 2020 taxes will not have to be estimated at 100% of the 2019 tax, but rather may be reduced to no less than 80% of the 2019 tax without incurring a penalty. For residential homeowners and their tax payments, we changed the tax notice date to March 1, 2020 and extended the 2% 2020 real estate tax discount period to April 30th, 2020, while also extending the face due to June 30th, 2020, once again for our residential real estate tax payments and taxpayers. Please also note we'll have another emergency meeting of the Radnor Board of Commissioners on Monday, March 30th at 6:30 p.m. via Zoom and streamed live on the Radnor Township YouTube channel. Check Radnor's website for the address. In closing, I'd like to say, as your commissioner, thanks again, and may God bless America in this time of trial. This has been Rich Booker, MLTV Mainline Network.